회사가 처음 출발할
I
때
still remember when this company first started.
기억이 납니다. 그때
Even then, I believed
시스템이
that the
우리
broadcast
회사에
system
굉장히
would be
중요한
important
역할을 하게 될 거다. 핵심적인 시스템이
and that
될
it
거다.
would play a very pivotal
그렇게
role in
생각을
this
하고
company.
그 당시 방송
Although we started
시스템을
making
갖춘다고
preparations
갖췄는데
for it,
인프라가 못 따라오니까
the infrastructure
저희의
wasn't
이제
capable of
하고
doing what I
싶었던
wanted
것을
at the
실현을
time.
못했는데
However, we have
이제
finally created
드디어
a system
동시에 이 세미나에
that
참석을
allows
할 수
members to
있는 그런 이제
simultaneously
시스템이
participate in the
갖춰지고
seminars.
정말
The Atomy Success Academy system
전 세계
allows
모든
everyone
사람들이
around the world
동참할 수 있는 그런
to tune in
시스템을
and join the seminars at the
갖춰
same
나가겠다
time.
하는 겁니다. 이제 이 얘기를 들으면은
When you hear
여러분들
something like
머릿속에
this,
여러분들의 조직이 그려져야
you should be
됩니다.
able to visualize
이게
your
그려지는
organization.
분들이
Those who
머리가
are able to
좋은
do
머리인
this
거예요.
are very intelligent.
이게 내 조직이 어떻게 펼쳐지겠구나.
They think, my group can become like
그래서
this.
소개만 해서 그 자리에
So if I just
앉혀놓기만
introduce it to
하면은
them and get them to
사업에
participate,
동참을 하고
they can become
매출이
members,
일어나고
raise deals,
거기에서
and
매수당이
I'll be able
오겠구나.
to get
학교 다닐 때
commission.
공부는
People who
잘했는데
got good grades
지금
at
뭔
school
얘기를
might
하는
be
거예요,
wondering
지금 이렇게.
what I'm talking about.
그거는
They might
너
think
박한길
this is just
회장
about
회사
you and your
얘기고
company.
내하고는 아무
What does
상관이
any
없는 것 같다.
of this
이렇게
have to
생각이 드시는
do
분은
with me?
조금
People with a
깝깝합니다.
narrow view tend to be like this.
그래서
Many of
정보화
you
사회가
have
온다
heard
이런 얘기들을
people say
여러분들이
it's the
많이
start
듣고
of the
또
information
정보화
age or you must
사회의
change to keep
변화에
up with the
발맞춰
information
나가야 된다.
age.
이런 얘기들을 사실은
Now, even though you've
여러분들이
heard
많이
this
들었지만은
often,
정보화 사회가
and we
왔는데
are in the
여러분들은
information
정보를
age,
이용해 가지고
have you
어떻게 돈을
actually made any
벌었는가?
money with this information?
무슨
What
돈을
kind of
벌었냐,
money have you made in this
돈을
information
번 게
age?
아니고
Instead of earning money,
정보의
most people have
이
become
수신자가
standards
되느라고
of
사실은 주머니에서
receivers of
돈만
information and just spend the money
집안에
they
4대
have.
5대 핸드폰
Each family
옛날에는
has
그냥
4 to
전화
5 cell phones.
하나만 있으면
Before,
50구가
you
다
had
썼는데
only one
주머니마다
line
전화기를
hand
놓고
phones,
다니니까
line phones,
쌀값보다도
phone,
통신료가 더 들어
and
정보료가.
telecommunication
그러니까 이 정보화
fee
사회가
is
됐는데 돈만
higher than
뺏겼지
your rice
정보를
fee.
이용해 갖고 내 주머니에
So you
들어오는
are
돈은
spending
없었다는
money, you are
거예요.
not earning money.
그거를
However, you
지금
are able to change the
애터미를
situation by doing the Atomy
여러분들이
business.
바꿀 수가 있는 거예요. 정보의
Instead of
단순한
simply consuming
수용자에서
information,
공급자가
you
될
will be
수가
able
있다는
to
거예요.
become a supplier.
지금 이
All you
스마트폰
need
하나만
is
가지고
your
있으면은
smartphone.
애터미의 수당
There's
체계,
no need
제품
to master
설명,
Atomy's
뭐
compensation
시스템이 어떻게
plan,
되는지 다 그거를
product
여러분들이
information and
머리로
system.
익혀가지고 여러분들 입으로
Nor
전할 필요가
do you
없다는
have
얘기예요.
to tell others about it
그런
yourself.
얘기를 하고
Instead,
있는 데가
you can
어디다,
tell them,
이 스마트폰에 어디로
you
들어가면
can
그
say,
얘기가
go
나오고
here on your
있으니까
smartphone
그걸
and it'll tell you
정보가 어디
everything.
있는가를
All you have to
여러분들이
do is to
알려만
tell
주면은
others about where to
된다는 거예요.
find the information.
정말 다행인 게
Fortunately, you don't
공부를
need
못해도
to be
된다는
good at studying.
뭐,
Isn't that
반갑지 않아요?
great news?
다 공부 잘했어요?
Did all of you study well?
아니 그동안
I think many
공부만 해갖고
people
출세
weren't
못하고
able to achieve
성공 못한
success because
사람들이
they weren't good at
대부분일 건데
studying.
공부를 못해도
Shouldn't you be
된다고
happier at
아이고
hearing
그러지
what I
하고
told
반겨야
you?
되는데 다 공부 잘했던
So why are you
거죠.
acting
가만히.
as if you really did well?
제가 공부를
Since I
못했기
also
때문에
wasn't good at
공부
studying,
못하는 사람들이 어떻게
I know
성공하는가에
best
대해서는 공부
how
못했던 제가
people who didn't study well
제일
can
잘
achieve
알아.
success.
공부 못하는
People who weren't
사람들이
good at school
꼭 영어
always
시간에
study
국어
Korean
책보고 국어
during
시간에
English class and social
사회책
studies
보고
during
있다고
Korean class, and teachers
이해를
wouldn't
못
understand
하겠다냐.
why.
공부 못하는 놈들이 그러니까
They would
공부를
always say
못한다고
it's
막
always
강의를
the bad
하시더라고요.
ones
근데
who
저는요,
study that way.
왜
Yet I
그렇게
know
하는지
exactly
그
why those
학생들의
students did
심정을
that.
충분히 알아. 수학이
For
진도가 한
example,
번
I couldn't keep
떨어지잖아요.
up in math class.
그러면은 나는
The teacher would
인수분해도
be
이해를 못하고
explaining
있는데
calculus
미적분을 선생님이
while I
풀고
couldn't
있어.
even do factoring.
그러면은
Since I
아무리
couldn't
들여다봐도
understand anything,
모르니까 나 나름대로는
I wanted to
내
efficiently
시간을 충분히
use my
활용하기
time
위해서
in my own way.
그때
So I
그래도
started
아는
reading
글씨가
something
있는
I could
국어책을 보고
understand,
있었어.
like my Korean book.
그게
I thought
나로서는
that was the best way
최선이었고
for me
가장
to be
성실하게 사는
diligent.
방법이었는데 선생님은
But the teacher
국어책 보고
who
있는
caught
나를
me doing
와가지고
that
지휘봉으로
came to
뒤통수를
me
때렸어.
on the back of my head with his rod.
이놈의 새끼야.
What are you doing in my class?
나처럼 인생을
That teacher
성실하게 사는
couldn't
사람을 그
understand
선생님은 이해를
how
못해.
earnestly I was trying to live my life.
우리끼리는 좀
You
알잖아요.
know,
그렇죠?
you know what I'm talking about, right?
지금
However,
이
in the
정보화 사회라는
information
것은
age,
공부를 잘하거나
success
못하거나
has nothing
아무
to do
상관이
with how well you studied.
기회가 온 거예요.
As
지금.
such, we now have a
자,
chance.
지금 우리가
You
가지고
can
있는 이
become
정보를
successful
어디가
by
있다는
telling
것을 여러분들이
others about
알려주는
where they can
역할만
find the
하면
information
된다.
that you have.
그런데 그
I
정보가
said before
가치가 있어야
that this
된다고
information
그랬죠?
needs to be
자,
very
소비자는
valuable. So what
어떤
kind of
정보가
information
가치가
is
있을까요?
valuable for a consumer?
어렵게 생각하지 마세요.
Don't
우리
overthink
공부
this
못했던
because it's
사람들은
difficult for people like us
어렵게
to think
생각하면
too
안 돼.
much.
소비자는
Consumers
싸고
want to
좋은
know
물건이
where they
있는가?
can
그게
get
좋은
great
정보예요.
products at low
예?
prices.
소비를 해야 되는데
Information that
물건이
tells the
싸고
consumers
좋으면은
where
그게
they can
좋은
get
정보다
high
하는
quality
거예요.
goods at an affordable
그래서
cost.
애터미에는
Hence,
제품이
all you have
싸고
to do
좋다
is
이렇게
tell
알려만
people
주면
about
된다는
how
거예요.
great and low-priced
저희
Atomy
애터미의
products are.
품질은 절대 품질입니다.
The quality of Atomy products
절대
have the
품질이라고 하는
absolute
것은
quality,
어디보다 좋다가
which
아니고
doesn't mean that
이
it's
이상은
better than
없다
others.
이거예요.
It means that there's nothing
이상은
better.
없다.
It's unbeatable.
또 예를
And
들어서
even with good
품질이
quality,
좋아도
the product has to be
가격이
priced
싸야 돼.
so low
그래서
that
이
no
정도의
one would be
품질은
able to sell a
누구도
product
이
of that
가격에는
quality for
팔
any
수가
less.
누가 팔아도
No one can
못
beat
판다.
those prices
우리를 따라오려고
because
하면
if they
가랭이가
tried,
찢어지가 죽는다.
their company would go under.
이런 정도로
That's how
가격
we set the
결정을 해요.
price.
이 해모임이
Hemohim originally had 60
60호에
packets
77만
and sold
원씩
for
받던 거예요.
hundreds of dollars.
이거를 더
I
가격을
started
낮출
thinking
방법이
of ways to lower the
정말 싸게
price
줬으면 좋겠다.
because I truly wanted to sell it at an affordable price. The majority of Hemohim consumers were actually people who were sick.
그러다 보니까
I don't know
돈이
if they
없어서
got
환자가
sick because
됐는지,
they were
환자가
poor
되다 보니까
or
돈이
didn't have
없는지
money due to their illness, but they tended to have difficult lives. Since I wanted to give these people a little more, I went to
우리 김치봉
Mr.
대표이사님한테
Chibong Kim, the
김
CEO,
대표님, 요즘 이제 물량이
and
좀
said,
늘어나고
Mr. Kim,
그러니까
we have been able to increase the production
조금
line.
가졌으면
I'd like to
좋겠는데
increase it a
박스를
bit.
요
So do you think the
반토막짜리를 조금
box
더 키운다고 박스
maker,
회사에서 돈더
would you
달라고
ask
그럴까? 이렇게
for
물어봤더니 아니요.
two questions? And he
그러면은
answered
지금
no.
30호인데
Well, it's currently only
거기다가
30 packets.
12포를
Do you
좀
think
더
there
넣어주면은
would be a loss of
어떻게
profit
적자날 것
if we
같아요?
added 12 more
그랬더니
packets?
아이고, 요즘이요.
He answered, well,
생산량이
due to the increase in
늘어나가지고요.
production,
전에
we have
요만한
been able to
탱크에서
upgrade the small tanks
요만한
to
탱크로
much bigger
생산하니까
ones.
사람 인건비는
But you've
똑같이
kept
들어가니까
labor cost the
인건비가
same,
낮아지고
so we've
해서
lowered the
그렇게
expenses,
좀
so
줘도
it should be
적자는 안날
okay
것
to do
같은데요.
what you
그래가지고
suggested. So
그러면은
then I said,
42%좀
then how
늘립시다.
about we
그래갖고
increase it
42%
to
늘렸어요.
42?
그거를
I did my
눈치를
best to slowly
봐가면서
persuade him.
살살살살 꼬시고 막. 저는 좀 장사꾼같이
Though I look like the businessman type, Mr. Kim has a very innocent and pure appearance after trying to persuading him, and he was persuaded. And let's add 6 more. And he said we wouldn't be loose. And finally, we increased it to 48.
Mr. Park, please don't ask to increase it anymore, okay? So I comforted by saying, of course, we already did so much. I won't ask it again. You can't be at the red. The producer has to profit too. Don't worry. Later, I said to him, Mr. Kim, the packets are currently 20 grams. Can we add maybe 10% more without adding more packets? If the packet were 22 grams, would that put you in the red? You won't have to change the box or add more. All you need to do is to increase the volume. He replied, oh, that's not too hard. It won't be a problem. I asked, then how about we make it 22 grams? And he agreed. Each packet was then increased to 22 grams. And later, the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety asked that, why did you make the package 22 grams when your submission for the patent were only 20 grams? Basically, we were told to correct the difference. We agree. And so I asked, would it be better to subtract 2 grams or make more packets? And now, but Mr. Kim already knew what I wanted to ask him. When I brought it up, he had already prepared for it. That's how we increase it to 54 packets. And the price remained the same. But this is supposed to be the month amount. If you took two packet a day, you need to have 60 packets in. And the awkward leads contain only 54 packets. Should we increase it or not? It won't be have worked without this kind of negotiation. So why was I told die hard? I wanted to make sure that no other product could match ours. Furthermore, this wasn't a product for the health of people in Korea. It had to be a health functional food that could secure the well-being of everyone in the world. For this to become a premier and global health functional food, the price had to be even lower. No one ever told me to increase the number of packets. But on my own, I agonized, negotiated, looked for ways, and did whatever I could to make it right. I wanted to make it no one could ever dare to try and match what we can do. That's the essence of absolute price. Then I did military duty. I was a field wire communication officer, which meant I had to climb up wooden poles to set up communication lines. During a war, you would have to climb and install the lines quickly. There were climbing competition in the military, especially for the division representative of the artillery corps. If you are a private in the first class, to climb up and down a pole, it would take you about 18 seconds. It takes about 13 seconds if you are sergeant. I had to place first no matter what. As such, I laid a pole on the ground and timed myself run back and forth. It came up to about 3.8 seconds. If I climb up and down the pole in 3.8 seconds, could any other division soldiers beat me? They couldn't. That's the concept of an absolute goal. If I wanted to achieve that goal, I started to practicing that method. Since I didn't want to fall from the top, I would practice at the bottom of the pole. I would practice moving my leg quickly at first. And then I got a stopwatch and pressed start as I went up. I was able to get 3.8 seconds for the climb one day. I was able to do that. I achieved my absolute goal. Thus, an absolute goal is a target that no one else could surpass. Actually, I have a lot of experience with factories because I did a job that took engineering plastic and made it into automobile parts for about 17 years. When I see things about equipment or technical aspects, I find it so fun and interesting since I'm able to give new ideas. However, it was difficult to do marketing and deal with the tertiary industries. My mind would go blank. I would get frustrated. But since I had to push forward, I started reading books. I would continuously buy and read books. After reading around 250 books, I began to make sense in my mind. I could see what others did in the past and how things might turn out in the future. Once I went through all kinds of experiences, trials and errors, for about 10 years, I was finally able to realize and understand how to do distribution with network marketing. I was able to see all of the problems that have come up in the past and sense of how I should do this business in the future. If you are able to make money with something you are good at and like, you should continue to do it as long as it's in step. That's the best and happiest way. However, if what you want to do doesn't align with the times, then you shouldn't do it. You need to choose what's aligned with the times. And you have to change who you are. Unless you change yourself, You will have to live a life that's not right for you. Raise your hand if living in poverty is right for you, and if you truly enjoy living a poor life. If you will be forced to do something you hate, if you don't change yourself, you will have to live a poverty. And as an ordinary person, I hear people say, I like being ordinary. They might be crazy if they enjoy living like that. What's good about being ordinary? I even left the company I worked for to start an online shopping mall that ended up bankruptcy. I hit rock bottom. I had to live in a cheap renter apartment. There are two types of people. There are people who just randomly shoot an arrow, follow it, throw the target where it lands, and say, I hit the mark. There are people like this. These people will never hit a target. This is how ordinary people behave. Rather than wanting to be ordinary, people just somehow became that way. So they compensate by saying that it was their goal. Don't be like these people. Instead, throw the target first. You with your goal like, I'm going to live as a rich person. I'm going to live while giving to others. You should shoot your arrows at those targets. It's possible you may not hit them or you may miss them entirely. However, there will be a time when you hit the bullseye with a sign that says Atomy on it. You have to be this kind of person. Thus, you must set goals. If you don't have goals, you won't escape poverty, nor will you be able to live the life you want. I saw some statistic that went like this. It said only 1% of people were successful, which meant they were wealthy and rich. 4% were barely able to become financially independent. They weren't rich but didn't have to ask anyone for money. 15% of people had passed away. About 10% were working paycheck to paycheck. These people had a job, but they didn't have enough money. The remaining 70% didn't have a job or any money and had to spend their old age in this situation. Take some time to think about where you stand. I think statistically, most of you will fall under this one. You have neither a job or money. You have too many bills to pay. So why is it that even after 30 years of studying and preparation, 30 years of doing their best to live well by working from dusk to dawn, the majority of people end up living miserable lives? Around 95% of people became failure. Essentially, 1% of people achieve success. Andrew Carnegie believed that he would be in the 1% even if he were born a poor 10 or 100 times again. He conducted that there must be a reason. That is, it was due to people not knowing how to become successful. They didn't know the law of success. The vast majority of people didn't know about the principle and method that would lead them to success. If they knew these laws, they would be able to become successful. Even if they were born into a poor family 100 times, it was because he knew the laws of success. And if he just followed these laws, he could become successful over again. Thus, he concluded that the majority of the people failed in their lives because they didn't know these laws of success. He decided to share the laws of success with everyone. And he began looking for someone to compile them into a book. The person who was selected was Napoleon Hill, a White House correspondent who was in his 20s. Carnegie told Hill,
당신이 20년 동안 이
Within 20 years, I want you to take this list
사람들의 명단을 줄 테니까 이
of
사람들
500 most successful people in the world, find out what they have in common, and summarize the laws of success. Napoleon Hill researched what principle allowed these people to become successful. These compilation became known as the laws of success. Something isn't called a law because someone says so. Instead, it's similar to the true north principle, which was the term that a man named Stephen Covey coined. It states that north is already predetermined, just like a law. Likewise, the laws of success are also predetermined. As long as you follow it, you will be successful. If you don't and go your own way, you won't achieve success. They could be compared to the laws of nature. They're already fixed, right? The sun rises in the east, sets in the west. This is an example of law of nature, like how water flows from a high place to a low one. The law of success are similar and it is also predetermined. You could even say that it's comparable to the law of farming. When a farmer plants his crops, he has to follow the laws of nature. For example, if a Korean farmer plants rice in the fall, do you think he would have a successful harvest? He is 100% guaranteed to fail, right? Unless the farmer follows the laws of nature, he won't be able to harvest anything. He will only be successful when he follows this law. As such, a farmer plants his crop according to the laws of nature. Likewise, if you want to be successful, what do you have to do? You must adhere the laws of success. To explain what the laws of success are, I will use the laws of farming as an example, because everyone understands the basics of farming. Now, what is the first thing that a farmer has to do? If you want to be successful, don't we need to determine what needs to be done first to make it possible? What do you need at first? We must discern what the farmer has to do first. Some people will say that he needs a seed, the farmer needs to prepare the field to plant them. Someone say that he needs equipment, he needs to hire workers, or he needs capital to finance everything. Although everyone has different answers, the first thing that a farmer must do is how much of what to harvest. The farmer has to determine whether he wants a bag of rice or peanuts in his mind first. Whatever he chooses will be what's stored inside the silo. Similarly, if you want to live a successful life, where do you have to envision this image first? You must envision it in your mind. You need to visualize you're successful yourself. However, the successful image of yourself is a complicated matter. The reason why it is this way is because we are complex beings. As human beings, we have a physical body, a flesh. Although your body has a finite life, you also have a spirit and a soul. Generally, these two are synonyms. You also live in an environment that surrounds you. The desires of these four elements are totally different. As such, if you want to be successful, you need to satisfy all of their desires. So what are the desires of the flesh? The first thing it wants is health, right? It wants to be healthy and live a long life. To be healthy all your life or need to die suddenly at the age of 40 isn't something that anyone else would want either. Furthermore, the flesh desires to live a luxurious life. in which your basic needs are satisfied. Basically, the flesh desire to live well. Basically, flesh desire to live well, and the spirit also has its own desires. As I stated earlier, people use it together, spirit and soul. However, these two are totally different concepts.
예를 들면 이런 거예요. 영은
Your spirit encompasses domains that you can't control,
혼은
while the soul manages areas you can, such as your emotions or desire for knowledge. You could choose to think about someone or not,
그렇죠?
right? Since you could easily change your thoughts, that's an area you are able to control. You could be angry on 1 minute and calm yourself down the next. You could even get angrier.
수도 있고. 희노애락
All of your emotions fall under the domain of your soul.
해당이 되는 거고 또 지적
Your desire to learn about the unknown,
지식이라든가
to obtain knowledge also are part of this category. You must sum up the desires of the soul as a desire to learn. On the other hand, the spirit deals with your conscious.
그리고 뭐가 있냐면은
It also involves the concept of time.
사람의 영에 속하는 부분이에요. 성경에
In the
보면
Bible, it states that we were given a spirit that desires eternity. Oh dear, the end of my life is approaching. How will my life end? Where will I go? As human beings, we worry because this is the area of spirit. From our Creator God, we have the conscious that could think and desire for eternity. You will never be satisfied unless these needs are met. With the environment, you have the desire to contribute.
하고 싶은 욕구를 가지고 있어요. 자, 그래서
Thus,
이 네
you
가지가
need to live a life that satisfies all four of these conditions. Now, a life that satisfies all four of these is called a balanced life.
다 같이 따라서
Please repeat after me, a balanced life.
균형 잡힌 삶이라고
You live a balanced life when you physically live well.
잘 살며 따라서
Say it with me, live well,
사랑하고
love,
배우고
learn,
공헌하는
and
삶.
contribute.
요네 가지
Only when you could completely satisfy these four areas,
진정으로
you will be able to live a truly successful life.
자, 그러면은
So we have to envision the lives that we want to live inside our minds. But this isn't simple. It's complicated. So the way we want to live our lives, that's in our minds, should be made into a movie. What kind of house you live in, what kind of car you drive, what kind of clothes you wear, who you socialize with, and who you help. These images should be made into something like a movie. So you have to make a movie about how you are going to live in 3, 5, 10 years from now and play it in your mind. Once you vividly imagine it like this, your life really becomes that way. This life you've envisioned in your head pops out. Do you really have to just envision it? The short answer, according to scientists, is yes. Who say this based on plenty of evidence. There's a reason it works. Let's do a simple experiment. Our bodies can't tell the difference between what we are thinking and what's really happening. I will put a handful of pomegranate seeds in your mouth. You chew on sweet and sour jewel-like pomegranate seeds. The seeds burst between your teeth as sweet and sour pomegranate juice fills up your mouth. What just happened in your mouth? You're not salivating? Get to the hospital quickly. Even if you don't actually eat pomegranate seeds, just thinking about them makes your body react as if we did. So let's say that the chairman tells you, I will put $30,000 in your pocket every month starting today. How would your body react to this? there is actually
우리
something
해모임이
better
면역력
than
증강이라든가
해모힘
피로 회복에 기가 막힌데 이거보다 더 좋은 게 하나
that can
있어요.
help your
오늘
immunity.
가르쳐드릴게요. 그게 뭐냐면
I'll tell
돈이라는
you
거예요.
what. The best cure
여러분
out there
통장에
is money.
한 달에
If you could
3,000만
continuously
원씩만,
receive
5,000만
$30
원씩만
to $50
빡빡
a month in your
들어가면은요,
bank
웬만한
account, you
잔병은
would be
다 나서.
cured of most diseases and
뭐
ailments
어깨가 뭐
like
뻐근하고
stiff
뒷골이
shoulders, neck
땡기고
pains,
뭐 눈이
and blurred
침침하고
vision.
눈이 침침하기는
Rather
눈이
than
번쩍
blurry
뜨이지
vision, your eyes would light
3,000만
up.
원, 5,000만
Do you
원씩
think
들어오는데 눈이
you'd
침침해?
have blurry vision when you are getting $30K
완전히 생기가 막
every month?
돌아버리는
You'd be
거예요.
bursting
그런데
with
그것이
energy.
실제로
Our
여러분
bodies
통장에
can't
들어가는
differentiate
거하고
between the money actually coming
들어온다고
in
생각을
versus
하는
just the
거하고
idea of it.
똑같이 여러분의
Our
몸이
bodies
반응을
react the
한다.
same in both cases.
그러니까
Thus, if it is hard for people to get up and go to the center because their bodies feel as heavy as rocks,
제가
I want to
그
tell those
사람에게
people,
사장님,
I'm going to
오늘부터
send
제가 한 달에
$30K
3,000만
to
원씩
your bank
통장으로
account every
보내드릴게요.
month.
요 말만 딱
Once people
들었다고
hear
하면은
those words,
아침에 몸이
do you think their bodies will be as heavy as a rock or as light as a feather? That be flying all over the place.
그냥
Just flying.
이 몸이라는 것은
Your body can't tell the difference between actually getting $30K a month and believing that you are receiving it, so it'll react exactly the same. As such, you can change your body. That is why it is necessary for you to remember the successful life and imagine that life in your mind. For example, if you think, I earn $30K to $50K a month and you are truly confident about it, your posture, speech, and gaze will change. When I first started Atomy, there were only 17 people. There are some women who is famous for being the owner of a restaurant, and we sat on the cushions. I told those 17 people gathered there, this Atomy business will enter the global market, and it's going to be the world's leading company. All of you will live in the biggest homes in your towns and become the person who pays the most taxes. And I didn't stop there. You will get a luxury car when you become a crown master. At the time, I was actually driving around in a used $2,800 car. Even though I was going around in this used car, I told them that the Impel Master will be given $1 million. Since the $50 bill didn't exist in Korea at the time, I realized that $1 million in cash would weigh 100 kilograms. I wondered and worried about how to give it, so I said, I can use a forklift. I thought through all those details. To the original 17 members, I told them I would give them $1 million. From the very beginning, I already envisioned going all in and making a global company to the first 17 contractors. And I said, you will become successful globally. We are going to go global. We will enter countries like the US, Canada, Japan. After lecturing for about 6 to 7 hours, they all become kind of crazy. Of the original 17, more than 10 members are at or above Royal Master. Once you have the image clearly in your head, it will manifest into reality. Where did Atomy come from? How did this company become a reality? From whose mind? The company came out of my mind. So where will your successful self come from? Does it come from my mind? No, it has to come from your mind. But it needs to be clear and definite in your mind. All of you will have to create a movie of your successful life using a life scenario. Among basic necessities, most people want to live well, so you specifically write what kind of house you want to live in. For your parents, for your children, your travel, and contribution, and your health, you need to be very specific and clear. And don't throw it away. You should continuously look at it and rewrite your life scenario every month so your movie gets revised little by little until it becomes a truly beautiful and impressive film. The movie that you envision in your mind is the most important. If you can truly envision yourself achieving success, your attitude towards life and everything you do will become that of a successful person. People will be drawn to you once they see this. If people aren't drawn to you, it's because you talk to them thinking they won't. And you're running back to your sponsor to tell them what happened. If you do the same thing with the next person, you're just confirming that you will get rejected. There are people who report to their sponsors about what they confirmed, rejected. Can these people successful? No, they can't. People who succeed believe that it'll work, or will do whatever until it works. I will earn $30,000 every month. I'll help my parents. I want to give them $2,000, $3,000 every month. I want to help my friends, and I will make my family happy. Thoughts like these need to be flowing out of your mind. If you truly have people that you love, your heart should be like a burning furnace that is overflowing with passion. When you are doing Atomy business, you need to be committed to earning $30,000 to $50,000 a month for your loved ones. Who is ready to become successful? I wish for all of you to become successful with Atomy business through the burning passion sparked by your loved ones. See you next time. Thank you for listening.